Go. 3, 2, and 1. Well, Mayor Doug, welcome back. Mayor's Monday at WSAU, WSAU.com. Coming at you on a Thursday here, the week before, of course, for those that haven't figured this out, yes, we do record these in advance. Man, you've had quite the week up here so far at City Hall, I guess. Where do we start? We start Monday with the Parks and Rec Committee meeting, and
start with Monday. It's fine.
Yeah, what ended up happening there? I guess first things off, I want to give you a chance to kind of explain to the public, those that maybe didn't see the meeting on Monday, what it is you're proposing right now and what stage in this we're actually at as far as the intergovernmental agreement between the city and the county for park services.
Sure. We're looking to save costs and a high-level org chart review. My gut said there's a potential for savings here. So I put together some comparisons with other communities. I put together some comparisons on org chart and estimated 400 to 500,000 in savings. I did some preliminary financial work with our finance director, talked to our DPW director, I talked to the chairs of finance committee and the Parks and Rec committee. So very preliminary 30,000 foot view. And coincidentally, back in 91, 92 timeframe, Mayor John Robinson tried to do the same thing. He was met with fierce pushback. Unfortunately, I didn't know that part before I launched this, that I was going to get such fierce kickback. But the normal process is we introduce this through the committee. Committee looks at it, assigns, maybe gets a feel for it, where it should be assigned to staff and what tasks they want to do. So had the chair called me, I would have said, let's take a look at this particular salary level or this particular management group. Let's talk to the parks director. Let's get some guidance on where we see some synergies. That didn't happen. We kind of put the cart before the horse. And I will say that I'll take some of the blame for that because I think people are not used to getting more direct contact. So what I did is when I made those efforts, a few days later, then I did release this to the press, which you probably saw, with this big idea. And I think some people were offended by, well, hey, nobody talked to me. And I think it's impractical and potentially runs afoul of open meeting laws for me to vet proposals to all 11 alders prior to bringing it to a committee. So what's unusual for them is they see this come out in the press. It's a direct communication to the public. They get it. They got everything the public got. That's our starting point. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from the public on that proposal. So that's where we take it. And I would say maybe one thing I could do is, if I'm going to do a press release, because I do ask the same of all our staff members, press releases come through one office, and that's this office. I will put them on a courtesy copy, but we won't do advance notice because that is an improper way to do it.
Yeah, again, open meetings laws can get pretty tricky there, and with the way open records work and things like that, you want to make sure that again, and I think one word that you used during that meeting was you wanted to be as transparent as possible, and that means putting out this memo, this proposal, the same as it would be to the alders, to the public as well. I mean, everybody got to see it, and I think there were some people that were on your side and saying, hey, this looks like a good idea. This is something that Mayor Doug ran on, and now we're actually starting to see he's trying to make good on this as well. So there were some people that were in your corner that way, but I think it's important to estimate that whether you like this idea or not, it is right now an idea and something that could take 12 to 18 months to implement, right?
Oh, yes, because there's a notice requirement. I had a discussion beforehand with County Executive Lance Leonard. Again, high level, what does it look like if we were to depart? And it's a 1 year notification. Could be as little as 180 days, but I think the 1 year would be the more practical way to do it. And I think that's what the contract asks for. So a year to 18 months to make this transition. But here's a tangential thing that I just thought of. If you recall the debate we had at the UW campus.
Sure.
Okay, one of the questions, I think might have been LaTanya Campbell, asked the question, what are you going to do to get more information, help the public become more informed? And my answer was, we're going to speak through the media, we're going to speak through press releases, we're going to speak through our website, through our Facebook page, every way we can. But the media, think about it, that's your bread and butter, but that's where the average citizen gets their information. So if not through the media in real time, help me understand a better way to do it. I'll take suggestions. What I won't take is abuse that implies somehow communicating directly with the public is a bad thing.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we do this in this format. Every month, everybody can see the video in its entirety. I don't do any editing on this, and
one take so far, right?
Exactly, one take is correct. So that's where I come from on this, because that's where I see my role in this as being somebody between your office and the public as well. So that's important to me. So you actually are speaking my language there. But again, as we said, this is very preliminary right now.
Sure.
So is this after Monday's discussion and your back and forth with the committee, you're obviously still see this as something that is enough of an idea that you can move forward with this to try and see if it's something where we can really realize some savings, get the tax rate under control, and still provide the services that people expect, correct?
Sure. And, we'll take it to the Finance Committee at some point, and we'll have some real numbers to hang on what I have proposed. So what I would say, I would use, I think you said back of the napkin, but the point is, you can look at a position and pretty much guess what that salary range is, and you add them up and you can come up with the dollars. We'll get the specifics hung on those. We talked about potentially hiring a survey or a consultant that can maybe do maybe a lower level survey on parks, compares to other parks, and get some more answers. It almost felt like in that committee meeting that they were looking to me to have all that drill down detail.
Right.
As the mayor sitting here answering my phone and now doing a detailed survey. I would caution that is not what I would ever portray as my job. My job is to orchestrate the staff, bring ideas, flesh them out, move them forward. So I will look at lessons learned here because, it was an uncomfortable meeting. I lost a little sleep over it, but I'm getting over it because the way I look at it is, didn't go well. Why didn't it go well? Because people were offended that they were not in the loop on the press release. Okay, we can fix that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll look forward to seeing where this discussion goes. And I think one other thing to emphasize as well is throughout the course of this is going to be something that's discussed over multiple months, multiple meetings. In the event that you say the numbers aren't adding up here, this doesn't look like a favorable outcome, there's probably going to be some off-ramps where you say, let's scrap this for now, put it on the back burner, maybe come back to it X number of years down the road, right?
Sure. And I may go have a beer with John Robinson and say, hey, what,
yeah.
And, preliminary discussions with him, he gave me some of the pitfalls and where he thought there might be some savings, or maybe we come out of this with just a slightly different understanding. I was going to play you that voicemail I got today. Hey, your pools are closed for the year. What the heck? And I would like to say, hey, it's a city pool, but we don't have control or input on how they're running the pools.
Yeah. We're
the city.
Yeah.
Now, you want to take control of it. Maybe that answer is different. Maybe it isn't. But we have to understand, why is that? Where did that come from? We know most of those answers. And can we do it better? Might be something to talk about. Not at all a hit on on that performance, but it's a perception, and very coincidentally, I got that call last night. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Indeed. One other thing, big, I guess you could say big announcement on Wednesday, a new apartment complex in the River Life neighborhood. You took a request for interest on this area, and I think you ended up coming up with a pretty attractive design for that area, and another developer that's willing to develop here in Wausau. Tell us about that project and what it's going to bring to the table.
Sure, and I liked the presentation. It's sometimes you just get lucky, and this is a case where there's a combination of what we did to prime the pump there and maybe get lucky. We held with Centrigy, we held a developer walk through town. So we walked the river, we looked at all of the potential sites that were available. We went to the west side, we looked at pretty much anything in the city that was available. Had some classroom discussion on that. But one of those people who've walked that site saw that site and said, "Hey, I think I could do something here." So when it came out as an RFI, they contacted their friends down in Milwaukee who are working on some similar projects, and it fit. So they've done 2 or 3 already on what we would call brownfield sites, or the greedy foundries. And those foundries were kind of dirty sites. So rather than having to dig deep in those, they're able to work with what they have. And these sites have gone through some level of remediation. But the interesting thing is that it fits the topography, it fits the depth. We're not going to go deep because you're right against the water and the water level. So they have a plan that can put parking 3 stories above it, 2 buildings on a lot. If you recall, that's the lot that had one of the other lots that had the water main issue.
Oh, sure.
And that kind of disrupted that previous job. The way they have it arrayed with these 2 buildings, the parking lot's over that spot and not going to be a problem. So the word of mouth part is where we got a person interested. The fact that he had something on the shelf that they'd already previously designed, it just fit right there. So that low cost for him to put that proposal together. And so now what do we do next? And we did get a second interested party, as you know, T-Wall. And, that was a genuine interest, but essentially they said, "Hey, if you don't have somebody chomping at the bit,
right,
we'll put
it.
some, right.
But it'll be years down the road."
Right, I think that's what he said. So do we want to put a stake in that and let it sit for a long period of time? I would think no, if we have somebody who's willing to keep going. So what's the next step? Now we'll develop more of the meat of the actual proposals, the numbers. He did give us a few numbers based on what the rents were going to look like. So hey, word of mouth, sell Wausau, get people in here to look, and maybe get lucky sometimes and have somebody be able to come in with a plan. See where it goes.
Yeah, and I think it's a very attractive plan that they've got there. And I think the other thing that can't be understated is the not digging down into the dirt, because who knows what you're going to find at a site like that. And they said, we have some pretty significant costs associated with that if we do have to take that dirt and landfill it in a certain way because of what's in it.
Right. Well, it's if you're landfilling to build a deep garage there, you're taking a lot of dirt and moving it away. And I think he said $65 a yard. If you look at the foundry on 3rd, huge.
Oh yeah.
a lot of dirt moving there. So there's a cost associated with digging that out and then putting a basement in. If you can put it kind of more surface level, you don't disturb that, you don't get down into the floodplain. Now you kind of, to me it's intriguing to see. And I don't want to use the word presently surprised, but I was smiling inside while I was listening to the presentation that, combination of selling our assets and, if you cast the net wide and you get people talking, because that's what it was, you get a guy that connects. So it's less luck maybe as I portrayed. It's having somebody that had the right connection. And they're doing projects, multiple ones in the state, and they're interested in getting more in this vicinity.
Yeah, absolutely. So it seems like it's going to be a big win for the city if in a couple of years we've got that grand opening and we've got the grand opening for the Foundry on 3rd as well, because from the timeline, it looks like those should be within about that same time frame, right?
Well, it would be pretty aggressive to get something new that quick, but it'll be on their tail. Maybe it'll start building that momentum and catalyst. Consider it a catalyst to what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mayor Diny, we always appreciate the time, and we'll look forward to chatting again next month.
Mike, thanks for coming over.